but please introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are for those who don't know.
Okay. I'm Cassidy Meghan. I'm the founder of Purple Day. I am 21. I started Purple Day in 2008, and it's an epilepsy awareness day.
Why did you do that though? Why did you say, do you know what, come on humans, we need to have a day for talking about epilepsy?
Well, with my own struggles with epilepsy, when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anyone who had it. I didn't know anyone about it. I didn't know anything about it, so it was a lot to just kind of, for us to learn what it was, and then that I didn't have, like, I was predisposed to have the tonic-clonics, but I never showed them, so it was a new kind of epilepsy I was diagnosed with that to us. And then come 2008, I wanted to see if there's other people in the world that had epilepsy. If there was, I didn't want them to feel how I did. I wanted them to know that it was okay to talk about, and that they weren't alone. And
yeah, because too many people do feel alone, right? And
definitely, especially if you don't know, like, resources to.
Yeah, like when I was little, well, so little, like until my 20s, and I just didn't consciously know of anybody. I probably did know somebody with epilepsy, but I didn't know that they had it because people weren't talking about it. Yeah, so what else? Like, I was going to ask you a question, I've forgotten now because of my epilepsy brain, my memory issue. I left you a message about what I was going to ask you. Can you remember what I was going to ask you?
I wrote a little note.
Oh, that's good. Go on.
Because very similar. Memory is not the best. You mentioned about, like, mental health, how it impacts the family.
That's right. Yes, because we always talk about us, but not so much about the people that love us, right, and help us out.
Yeah. Yeah. The family and friends I started doing, like, little videos asking people, like, from different perspectives on epilepsy, and whether, like, they're a parent and they worry about their child, sometimes, like, letting them go on their own or go with friends overnight. They worry about them having a seizure. They worry about SUDEP. With friends, it can be difficult sometimes if they forget what to do, or some of my friends said, like, they forget I have epilepsy sometimes, so if I were to have a seizure, that'd be hard that way. Yeah,
it's kind of good that they forget in a way because it doesn't define you, but I guess it's not good if they forget, if it makes them shocked if they witness you having a seizure.
Yeah, and it's good because then it's like, yeah, you said it pretty good there. It's also kind of hard to get people to understand, like, why we're so tired, why we can't remember things, why we have to make last minute cancellations.
Yeah, it's like make a cancellation or reschedule maybe.
Yeah.
Or have a seizure, and it's like, mate, got to choose, sorry, bye, you know. You've got to look after your health at the end of the day. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's my opinion, but when you finally, because it can take a while for some people, finally say, okay, do you know what, mate, I've got epilepsy, I have to deal with this, then you make adjustments, then life can get a bit easier because you do have to, and you choose to manage your life to minimize your risk of seizure, of injury, and of SUDEP.
Yes, definitely. It can be hard, and it's just, I don't know, I don't think I limit myself very much. It's kind of I make a lot of adaptations.
Right.
So, like, I may not have, like, a life jacket, or going for walks with bike rides, which should usually be with a friend. More time. I have to spend more time on schoolwork than the average person sometimes.
More time on what, sorry?
Schoolwork. So homework, assignments.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh God, I had to do that. I had no social life. I was just like, what did I read? Okay, read it again. Read it again. Okay, check everything again, right?
Yeah.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It is, honestly, and just trying. yeah, trying to work around that, and then you have deadlines too to meet, so it's definitely difficult.
Yeah, I appreciate that more schools these days and colleges and universities are um, taking note and listening to us when we say, do you know what, mate, I just might need a bit extra time. It can take a while for this to sink in, you know, things like that, so that you just, and this doesn't apply for everybody with epilepsy, because I've met lots of people with epilepsy and it hardly affects their life at all. I'm not jealous at all, but but it was another example of how things differ, isn't it? But yeah, I was just saying, I think universities are getting better. Would you agree or not?
I would definitely agree. I mean, my instructors have been really good. They have been really good supporting, and I meet with the instructors, my teachers, like before the school year starts, almost every year, just to like go over everything again, or just tell them everything if it's the first time meeting them, and try to see what we can do to make adaptations for me. Just kind of, but no, it's definitely, they're getting a lot better with the support and educating people around us.
Yeah. And what would you give, like, what would be a key tip of the day or whatever to people who, first people with epilepsy and then people who are just a bit clueless and want to learn? What would you say?
Not all epilepsy is not this. There's different kinds of epilepsy, and that they're not all the same. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to talk about it. It's very common. It's more common than people realize.
And what helps you talk about it, I think, is becoming more knowledgeable yourself. So reading,
so like talking with your doctors, learning more that way, researching what type of epilepsy you have, epilepsy in general, and like joining on, like watching lives like this or joining Facebook groups. You could just see other people's stories and learn from them and say, oh, I can relate to this, and like it lets you know that you're not alone in that. Definitely knowing you're not alone, knowing that it's okay to talk about, I feel it helps a lot with you being more open and actually teach people about it, and it makes people easier to ask for people to ask questions.
Yeah, and I think make yourself open to contradiction as well. There's a lot of rubbish out there, isn't there? Like
there's still a lot of myths circling around. Like some people still think you can swallow your tongue. Some people still think you should put things in your mouth, which you should never do. It's physically impossible to swallow your tongue.
I know. I've got a long tongue. I would choke if anybody could choke, I would choke, but it hasn't happened, mate. So
you know, a few teachers I've had that my mom caught, she woke up to me like making choking sounds, but I was choking on like the saliva and mixed saliva and blood and biting my tongue. So she rolled on my side so that it just come out. And I was fine, generally. Yeah. That's what the choking comes from, is like that.
And also, I would say, if you're having that type of seizure, a tonic-clonic, and you biting your tongue, no one's getting your mouth open anyway. Like, well, without like what do you call those things that I know a bar to open somebody's mouth with, because you're like proper. You're trying to think of it as well. Probably the watchers know what I'm trying to think of.
A crowbar?
Crowbar. That's it. Crowbar. Yeah. Anyway, so if people want to get hold of you, message you, how should they do that?
They can message me, get a hold of me through Facebook. I think just Cassidy Meghan. Instagram is purpleday march26. My email, cassidy@purpleday.org. Yeah, sometimes it does take me a while to answer the messages, but I do get to them. I Twitter with, I'm pretty sure, is Purple Day. Yes.
So many places, yeah, and how to remember.
It's yeah, I can write it in the comments of your live when you post it.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, and also we're going to put this live on YouTube, not live, sorry, but put it onto YouTube tomorrow anyway. So I can type the details
Awesome.
in there, and then you can share that with anybody that you want. And yeah, so all right, well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for the last minute, you know, call and sorting this all out. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for doing this. You're doing an amazing thing today.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.